Welcome to the UK Niner podcast, part of the Across the Pond Sports Network. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Walker and Neil Baldaugh.
What's up, everybody? Episode 4 underway. I'm Matt Walker, and with my, as always, with me out in Seattle. He's back home. Neil's on the other end. How you doing, Neil?
Good, Matt. How are you? Yeah, good morning. And before I start, happy Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day in America. It's a different time to the UK. I've already called my mum up, but it gets me out of excuses if I forget to wish her happy birthday. Happy Mother's Day in England, but it's today. So happy Mother's Day to American moms everywhere. There you go.
I'm going to tell you what, when you said to me earlier on that you were going for Mother's Day brunch a little bit later, I started to panic and thought I'd forgotten. But no, you're right. It's Mother's Day in the States. You must have spoken to Susan earlier then, because I've just spoken to my mum, but it's 5:15 here. Did you wake your mum up?
No, she was up. But yeah, good little chat, just catch up with everything. And yeah, so there we go.
Cool. So episode 4 then underway. I think we're getting established now, Neil. I think you can sort of say that, you know, we're loving it. We're established. We had a bit of a panic that we might not be able to do today, but everything's worked out right. And away we go then. So let's see what we've got coming up today. So on today's show, we're going to start off with looking at some Niner nuggets to begin with. Lots of news this week as the season goes past the draft and past the free agency period, and we head into rookie minicamp this week. Lots of things starting happening. Then we're going to have a look back at some more nostalgia, and particularly the 1994 Dream Team that won Super Bowl 29. Then halftime challenge for you, Neil. We're going to blind rank some football movies today. I'm going to do it with a bit of difference as well. You know, I think I've got 17, but you're going to pick a letter, and then whatever letter you pick, that'll be the movie. And then we'll only do 5 out of 17. But anyway, then we're going to have a look at Trent Williams. Trent Williams is back with us. Thankfully, Trent Williams, the silverback, back with us. See how that contract affects the rest of the Niners roster. And then to finish things off, talking about that roster, Niners have got the most cap space in the NFL as we currently speak. Are they going to make any splashes and build that roster? So yeah, that's what we've got coming up on the show this week, Neil.
Let's do it. And yeah, like you said, this is starting to become a thing, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I think number 4 is a bit of a threshold. So yeah, looking forward to it. Let's get on it.
Here we go.
First quarter.
I've even changed my graphics up. We've gone from first down to first quarter because I kind of didn't think it made any sense going first down, second down, halftime. So anyway, we're on the full. I
like it. I like that. That's a good change. Good change up that caught me off guard. I was like, hang on, what's going on? What's going on? But that's awesome. Yeah, nice one. So Niner Nuggets. Where are we going with first?
Well, like I say, most cap space in the NFL currently, which is a really good thing. I don't want to talk too much about this now, but should we make a splash? Kyle Van Noy has been cited this week. I don't know if you thought that Kyle Van Noy was interviewed and talked about wanting to play with his little brother, Fred Warner.
Right, and he had a little bit of a down year last year. I look at his stats, but the year before he was like really, really good. Yeah, so we're going to deep dive the cap space a bit later. And I guess we'll discuss, are we going to make a splash? Are we going to think about rolling money over? I know Bosa's contract is heavy next year, so we need to look at that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what we do with it. But yeah, interesting. I was surprised as well. I really was. The amount of talent and the amount of age on the team to have the most cap space is pretty good. So obviously, John's doing some good stuff with those contracts.
Bodes well. It really does bode well. But like I said, we'll dip into that a little bit later on. Rookie minicamp, big news of the week. The rookies finally got themselves into minicamp down at Levi's. An interesting one. I heard this as well. Actually, this is going beyond the Niners. Did you hear that the Lions cancelled their mini rookie camp?
I did not.
So the Lions cancelled their mini rookie camp, but I think based on the fact that they I don't know whether it was an injury to do with an injury thing or whether or not they wanted to get the more experience elsewhere. But anyway, that's beside the side. In day 1 of minicamp, I heard a report as well. All of our rookies took to the field, but none of them, they were all involved in positional drills. None of them took part in any 7-on-7s, any team sort of activities like that. And I heard another podcast who were talking, basically going, Oh, is it the fact that now they've made it in the NFL and they're kind of going, I've got my money, I don't need to play? Or is it probably more likely, is it Kyle and John going, hang on, we don't want any big news coming out of rookie minicamp. We don't want Stribling going down injured on day one. We don't want any sort of bad press. We don't want to see anybody dropping balls claiming that we've reached for these players and then going, told you. What's your take on that? I'm not being involved in 7-on-7s.
Maybe, but I think a lot of it's also to do, we need to look at the players we haven't signed, right? We're probably looking at players we need extra players, obviously. I think they know where these guys are. And 7-on-7 unpadded drills, I mean, what's that really going to tell you? I think they already know what they've already got. I wouldn't read too much into it. I think the more interesting thing is the numbers they were wearing, to be honest with you.
Well, here they are.
There we go. Look at that.
Wow, I tell you, some big shoes to fill there. I mean, the most obvious one straight off from recent years, Stribling. At this time, when Stribling was given 15, people were like, well, Juwan's gone then. 100% Juwan's gone. And we'll talk about Juwan in a minute. But Stribling is our new number 15. But look at some of those other numbers, like you say, with the big shoes to fill. 94, taking Justin Smith. And what about Joe Staley?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Joe Staley. Well, not just Justin Smith, right? But wasn't that Charles Haley as well?
It was Charles Haley.
So, yeah, and then obviously Stribling picks up, obviously, Juwan Jennings. So hopefully it's another good blocking receiver downfield. Crabtree wore that number as well. And I know they've got to recycle some of these numbers, but I think there's some intention behind 15 anyway. I thought that's the one I think they really picked. But yeah, interesting. Really, really interesting start. But lots of good feedback about Stribling as well. Seems to be more and more good stuff coming out about him. I think, like we said last week, after we thought maybe they reached, when we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, I think now he's coming in more and more of like being that Niner character we speak so much about.
And just before we go on to, well, in fact, we'll go on to Stribling now. Figures came out about his contract. We've signed 6 of our 8 drafted players, and Stribling's contract, 13.5 mil, 6.3 mil signing bonus, which gives the Niners a 2.5 mil cap hit in 2026. So that 13.5 mil, that's it's decent for a rookie. Do you think enough? Do you think that's around about right for a second round pick? Because that's quite a lot of money for a second round pick.
Well, I'm sure the agents know exactly how much they're going to get paid before they even draft them, to be honest with you. And who are the 2 aren't signed? I know Height isn't signed. Who's the other one?
Your man, Grayson Holton's not signed yet. So
Holton's not signed yet.
No Romello Height, no Grayson Holton as we speak today on this Sunday, the 10th of May. But you'd hope, and then it's strangely enough, 7, all but one of the undrafted free agents signed, and the only one that wasn't was the punter.
Oh well. Well, although I have read, Matt, that they think he might actually give some pretty good competition. So we'll see where that goes. But but I still think, all in all, I think it was a pretty good, like you said, the cap space, the rookies, the undrafted free agents. I think the offseason so far is going pretty well and pretty optimistic. So good news.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get rid of that graphic about the rookie numbers, there was a huge uproar on a couple of articles that I read regarding Duggar and the fact that he's wearing 53, and they were going, "Oh, Navarro Bowman, Navarro." But then I kind of thought, well, D. Winters was in 53 last year, and I can't remember there being such a fuss when Winters picked that up. But again, Duggar, 53. 53.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the Stribling 15 got people looking, if you know what I mean. And but yeah, 53, obviously Bowman's legend. And then like you said, there's a few of these just like all-time just great Niners, and it'll be interesting to see if they hit the mark.
It really will be interesting to see how much contribution Stribling in particular makes this year in that stacked receiver room at the moment, and whether or not he's going to get any time or it'd be interesting. But again, that receiver room, if you can think about it, in May time last year, it's so much deeper than it was this time last year.
It's so good. I mean, maybe there's an option for him on special teams to start with. I think I've read some of that coming out of the camp this week. They try him as a gunner, so we'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. He's big-bodied. He's fast. He's smooth. He blocks downfield, like we said. So hanging a lot on him, but I think he'll find his way into the team. I really do. I know he's got a lot of depth ahead of him, but I think he'll find his way onto the field if Kyle trusts him early enough, because we know that's another thing, right? He doesn't tend to trust his rookie receivers so much. So wait and see.
And this is interesting as well about Kalen Black. Obviously, he's been hearing the noise. He's been hearing the press about reaching and the Niners. But the Niners came out this week to say that, look, he was our second ranked back in the whole draft. You know, and he's our sort of runner. He's our sort of character again. And Kalen Black, if anything, you know, it's got to fuel him for what's been said about him. And he's come into rookie minicamp, and again, he's looking good in the early stages.
Yeah, and I listened to his interview. And you know what? If that fuels him and makes him better, so be it. I don't think anybody was really so much against the pick as where it happened. So maybe we could have got him a bit later. But you know what? If he's that high on the draft board and he was there to take and we wanted him, you can't blame him for taking him. So we'll see how he does. Apparently his pass catching, I've been looking into that a little bit because it wasn't so great in college, but apparently that's not been an issue in like practices, or he just wasn't used in that role. But hey, if we use him just in between the tackles to take off some load off like McCaffrey, I think he's already made his way into, it looks like he's already been talked about as being the second string straight away, like the backup. So yeah, well, if it fuels him, all good for us. Right? That's it.
And that's the thing. Again, we talk about McCaffrey, and they were all saying about, well, Kyle says about giving him some reps off, but you know, you see McCaffrey whenever he comes to the sideline, he's always like that. He's always like, just one play, but it's got to come. I heard this again in earlier on this week about with interviews. It's got to come from the top down. It's all well and good CMC coming off and going one play, but it's got to come from the Kyle and Kubiak. You know, it's got to come from the top down. There's, you know, we want you to be there very later in the season. We don't care whether you want one play off or not. We've got these other backs that we can utilize and will be effective. We need to rest you and make sure that you're ready for the stretch.
I agree. And like having him fully healthy, you know, fingers crossed in the playoffs, taking us for a deep run, that's where we need him. That's where his true skill set's going to come into, like in those January games, right? So, you know, during the regular season, you know, if we're up and we can rest him more than a play, let's do it. Let's take him out for a series, take him out a little bit earlier. We know he wants to play. We know he can play. He hasn't got anything to prove. No. So let's just keep his body going for the whole season.
Well, again, he turns 30 this year, and congratulations to him and Olivia. Yeah. They've just announced the news that they're expecting their second child, so congratulations to those two as well. But with everything that brings with it, turning 30, dad of two, you know, with all due respect, he's a machine, but he's not getting any younger. And when you've got these young backs and lining up now with Garendo and Black and Jordan James, you know, you've got to use these guys. You've got to keep your prime asset in tip-top conditions so he can perform at the most important moments.
Absolutely. I think your rotation is going to be key. And I think they'll recognize that. I mean, he had the most touches of the ball last season, right? So, I think they'll recognize that. And hopefully that's why they targeted Black in the draft, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And finally, then, last little bit of news. It's an important bit of news. We spoke about number 15 and Stribbling. Juwan Jennings finally lands himself a new contract. Hit himself with the Vikings, a 1 year, $8 million base with a maximum value of $13 million. But that receiver room in Minnesota now, apparently your name's got to begin with J if you want to be playing for the Vikings receiver. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and now Juwan Jennings.
Lots of J. 5 J's. Yeah. And I kind of feel for him a little bit. I know he turned down what we offered him, but I always liked him. He's one of those players that you love him if he's on your team, probably not so much on another team. I like the bite he brings. I like the fight, the anger. And I really like him. I'm kind of disappointed he didn't re-sign with us. And I realized, these players want to make money. And he took it on himself and he bet on himself. And, maybe it's one of these things where, like in the past, we've seen it, like 49er receivers aren't seen the same in the NFL across the board. And they tend to be valued a little less than what Kyle does. And maybe because of the run scheme. But yeah, good luck to him. 3rd and 1, right? I mean, he was the go-to guy in a lot of plays.
He really was. But I suppose the question very quickly then, Neil, is though, would you have rather had Juwan for another year or Mike Evans and Christian Kirk, which basically we plowed in the money we would have been paying for him into some of their contracts?
Yeah, you got to say it's an upgrade. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you're going to have Evans and Pearsall, and now you've got like Stribbling coming in as well. I mean, the wide receiver room is better. There's no doubt about it. I liked him as a player, though. and I wish him all the best. And maybe he does 1 year contract and then gets paid even more next year. That's the way it goes.
Hopefully so. And I saw an image as well the Niners put out, I think, the end of an era, and they've got the 3 lockers. They've got Deebo Samuel, they've got Brandon Ayuk, and they've got Juwan Jennings sat side by side. Oh dear, that's my mic. Side by side, and you kind of like, well, that was a real glory era for the Niners receiving room. And as football, like you say, it is a business. We move on. It's not like before free agency where these players stay with the same team throughout their entire careers. But it is an end of an era for that Niner receiver room.
It is. And it's funny you say that. I sparked up Madden 26 yesterday for the first time, mind you. I'm not like played Madden 25. It seemed a very similar game. And I was like, I'll try it out. And there was Ayuk running around. Like, hang on a minute, this is wild. It's like the roster, even from the start of last season to where it is now, has changed a lot. So this I think it's going to be a good season though. I'm really, really optimistic.
I think me and you always are, and I think that's why faithful have got the media. They're the guys that kind of look for the cracks and look for the criticism and look for the why have you done this, why have you done that. And generally speaking, I think if you're a fan, if you're a faithful, we said before about Kyle and would anybody else want him as their head coach? Can he win the big one? But if you're faithful, then you believe in what these guys are doing for your team, and why wouldn't you be optimistic? And particularly, people might say they've not addressed certain needs they need in the draft, in free agency, thinking about the offensive line. But again, they've got a plan. They've got their what fits, and they're doing what they think is best for this organization. So why wouldn't we be faithful to them?
Exactly, and that's how we've rolled for years. So let's keep going, and that's why we're doing this podcast after all, because we love them.
Absolutely, 100%. Right, that's the end of the first quarter. Let's move on.
Second quarter.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there with my...
Feel good, do it.
Right, so we mentioned last week that
we're doing it.
We mentioned last week that it is the 80th anniversary of the 49ers, and we're going to look at some nostalgia. Last week we looked at all the Super Bowls, but we're going to focus on one year in particular this year, the 1994 season, which culminated in the 49ers winning Super Bowl 29 against the San Diego Chargers in a demolition job where Steve Young threw for a record 6 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl. But we just wanted to dive in a little bit more and looked at, we spoke last week about how that was an all or bust season and the way the Niners kind of went all in. So we've had a little look at the roster, and that roster, Neil. In fact, before we go with the roster, let's talk about the coaching staff, because you made a really interesting observation.
So this, when I saw this on the schedule for the podcast, I was like, oh man, that team was amazing. So I went back and I've had a look, and I don't think people realize how amazing it was. I think it was the first year of the salary cap, really. I think they came out and they said we'd lost twice in a row to the Cowboys, right, in the championship game. And they literally built this team solely to beat the Cowboys, which obviously they did. But yeah, the coaching staff, and the two I noticed that was their offensive coordinators was Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak. Yeah. So their kids right now are part of the coaching staff, like right now. So that it's amazing how that team has there's someone else you highlighted on the receiving staff we'll talk about in a minute. But like the coaching staff, I mean, all time, this great team, like George Seifert in charge. I mean, it was amazing. And I think we'll go through some players now because, wow.
Yeah, well, just before you do that, it was kind of the latter end of the Eddie DiBartolo reign as owner. And, and he was famous for basically just saying, I want to give the players whatever they want, whatever they ask for. I just want to make it as comfortable. And him as an owner and the likes of Young and Montana spoke publicly about what an incredible owner he was. And he was an owner for the players, and obviously he had his issues and had to sell the club on. But that was the kind of the end almost of the glory days of the DiBartolo, the ownership. And like you say, George Seifert inherited the club from Bill Walsh, and at Super Bowl 23 to 24, there were some people going, well, okay, Seifert, yeah, you've won that, but it's really Bill Walsh's team. But Seifert, obviously 5 years later, with the ownership, and like you said, we've got to beat the Cowboys. And DiBartolo, Eddie D was kind of like, right, we'll do whatever we can, throw all the money in here. And it was that real, the one season or bust, wasn't it? You're quite right. But I think you can't underestimate the impact that Eddie D had on that franchise. But yeah, player-wise, I mean, even before the season, we had Steve Young, we had Jerry Rice, Ricky Waters, John Taylor. We'd got Brent Jones and Harris Barton on the offensive line, Jesse Sapolo, Steve Wallace. On the defense, we already had Merton Hanks and Tim McDonald back at safety, Eric Davis, the cornerback. And that's before we started. Then with the draft, we brought in future stalwarts, bar none, William Floyd at fullback. What a beast he was.
Yeah.
Kevin Mitchell at linebacker, Lee Woodall outside linebacker, and Tyrone Drakeford corner. They were the kind of guys that really made an impact early on. And then, Neil, just talk to us about those free agents that came in.
Everyone that just came in, it was wild. So, I mean, I think you got to start off with Deion Sanders. I mean, like a one-season contract, purely just to beat. He was the guy, right? He was the guy to do it. Like, he's the guy we're going to hang our hat on. But we brought in like Gary Plummer, Ken Norton Jr. I mean, wow, just amazing players. And then up front, you bring in people like Richard Dent, Tim Harris, Ricky Jackson, just legends of the game, like coming into this all-star team. And I think you had the numbers somewhere, like how many All-Pros and Pro Bowlers did they generate? Do you have that number?
Oh, goodness me, I've got that somewhere. I
think it was like 10. I think it was like 10 Pro Bowlers, but 11 All-Pros, I think it was, or something weird. It was like the opposite way around that you'd expect.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I went back and watched some of the tape yesterday of that team. Unbelievable.
If you look at the actual season itself, I mean, well, let's just run through the season itself. Here we go. Well, for a start, they lost 3 games all year. And they opened things up with a 44-14 shellacking of the Raiders at Candlestick. Then they lost to the Chiefs. And actually, that was interesting because that Chiefs game in week 2 was Montana versus Young. And that was the Super Bowl that people wanted at the end of the season there with that Montana Young. And, tip your hat to Montana. It was out at Arrowhead, so it's always a difficult place to play. But Montana kind of waved his finger at Steve Young and said, "Nah, you're not the master yet, young man. You're not quite there yet." And that was it was kind of nice in a way for Montana. It was then nice for Steve Young at the end of the season to have, that to have it finished like they did. And then they beat the Rams in Anaheim. They beat the Saints at Candlestick. And then they went out to, Philly came to Candlestick. And wow, they just shut the Niners up 40-8. And it was an absolute demolition job. And Steve Young at that time, he was pulled from the game. And you saw him just literally, and he'd been interviewed and basically said, at the end of that game, I wanted to fight. I wanted to fight somebody. I was so annoyed. I was so, the fact I got pulled, but also the performance, I was looking for a fist fight. And I think that particular game then, after you're then 3-2 after week 5, you've plowed all this money at the beginning of the season, and okay, you're only one game off 500 when you put everything into it. And I think that was the real turning point.
Do you think that's the game where they were like, okay, hang on a minute, let's be who we are, let's go on and just win this thing? Feels like it, right?
Well, it was, because then from that time, and that was September 25th. Then from October the 2nd to December 17th, they don't lose a game. They beat the Lions in Pontiac Silverdome, as it was, 27-21. They annihilated the Falcons 42-3 at the Georgia Dome. They beat the Bucks 41-16 at Candlestick. They're racking up and averaging over 30 points per game. Beat the then Redskins at RFK 37-22. Then the Cowboys in what was a real big game at the time. Let's see where we measure up to the Cowboys, on November 13th, and they beat them 21-14 at Candlestick. Then at Candlestick beat the Rams 31-27. Then the Saints 35-14. Then the Falcons again, because at that time, obviously, the Falcons were in our division. It was the time with the Falcons there. 50-14 at Candlestick. San Diego 38-15. Then Denver 42-19. And by that time, we've got everything wrapped up. So we kind of rest the starters, and the Vikings beat us 21-14 out in Minnesota. But, it was just an absolutely offensive explosion all year, and that continued into the postseason and into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I think that's the big thing here is I don't think it was too difficult. The divisional round, I think it was the Bears who beat in that, but then obviously the big one was the NFC Championship game, beating the Cowboys. I think it was 38-28. I remember the game a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I went back and watched a bit of YouTube this morning, but we jumped on them 21-0 up. I think it was it off 3? Yeah, I'm looking at 3 turnovers. like 21-0 after 8 minutes, and that was it. That's all she wrote. And wow, I mean, what a team! What a game! I did see a fun stat though that I didn't realize this, that Aikman threw for 380 yards in that game.
Well, they came back.
They came back.
After being 21 zip down, they did come back. But yeah, awards and honors that year. Like you said, there were 10 Pro Bowlers: Merton Hanks, Brent Jones, Tim McDonald, Bart Oates, who came across as a free agent, Jerry Rice, Dion as a free agent came across, Jesse Zapola went, Dana Stubblefield, Ricky Waters, and Steve Young all made the Pro Bowl that year. And in terms of the honors and the awards, 66 touchdowns, 505 points scored, both led the NFL. Jerry Rice with the NFL leading receiver with literally 1 yard shy of 1,500 yards. He made the Pro Bowl as well. Dion got the Defensive Player of the Year award, amongst other awards. Bryant Young, Rookie of the Year award. I mean, Bryant Young as a rookie, and what a stalwart he ended up being. Steve Young, 35 touchdown passes, leading all NFL quarterbacks with 112.8 passer rating, again leading the way from the QB position. And that list of Steve Young's accolades just goes on and on and on. Pro Bowl, All Pro selection, MVP in the Super Bowl, NFL MVP, Player of the Year by UPI NFC Player of the Year, and it was just incredible. And then you look at the milestones, and Jerry Rice, 100 receptions in the season, 112 receptions overall, another 1,000-yard receiving season, and the most important of all, in week, I think it was, let's have a look, it was week number 1, he broke Jim Brown's all-time touchdown scoring record of 126 on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. It was just a fairy tale season all around.
It was amazing. And I was kind of thinking back a bit about this one. I was like, looking into it, is this the greatest Niners team of all time? Right. And I was like, well, I understand that their season record wasn't the greatest, right? They lost 3 games. We had teams that was 1 game, 2 games, right? But I still maintain, I think it can be argued that on their day, this team would have beaten anybody. I mean, you're just talking legends, both sides of the ball, multiples of. It was a wild, wild time. And I honestly think, I looked it up on the NFL rankings. They ranked this team the 19th best in NFL history. Yeah, that blew my mind, right? And I was like, nah. Yeah, maybe because I think a lot of it is on that 13-3 record in the regular season. However, when you look what you just said, the offense that they had back then, it was unbelievable, and the defense was just as good. I mean, we talked about that. I was chatting with you a bit this morning about it. I was talking about the big no call game against Sanders against Irvin in that championship game, and that made NFL Network. That was like its own little segment on NFL Network, right? It was like it's a thing. So this was huge back then. This is the time. This is the team I remember really, really well. Like I really enjoyed watching it, and the draft class, everything about it was amazing.
Well, that sort of time, we were like 19 and 20, weren't we? 94. I was 19. I think you were 18 actually at the time. It would have been, but yeah. So these are our kind of most, as much as I remember before that, and I remember significantly before that. This does stick. Well, just out of interest, on that ranking, that list you looked at, were there any other Niners teams in the top 19?
Yeah, it was the 84 Niners. I think they lost 1 game. They were ranked 4, and then the 89 Niners were ranked 5.
So that was the Dolphins Super Bowl 19, and the Broncos, Super Bowl 24. When okay. Well, I suppose as well, like you say, this was the first year of kind of when free agency really just exploded. So there's an element almost whereby maybe these guys aren't necessarily seen as much of a team because it was all paid for, whereas the other guys, kind of those teams were built. Maybe might be an argument for that. Maybe, but I was looking at another stat here. They had a plus 209 point differential over a season. It was wild. I mean, it is literally. I mean, obviously, in this day and age, we're never going to see a team assembled like this. No, we're never going to see it again. The like of it, and players willing to come over for a season to win a Super Bowl. That was wild. I mean, think about that. I mean, who's going to just go, you know what? I'm the best in the game, and I'm just going to go and join this team, win a Super Bowl, and then see what happens. Yeah. No one's going to do that anymore. So I think this team should be treasured. I think it should be put up there. And I think on its day, I think it may have even beaten the 84 and 89 Niners, but we'll see. Maybe that's one for another day. Well, maybe so, because that would have been a Steve Young versus Montana battle, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, look, nothing else. I just love talking about this. It sends shivers down my spine just thinking about this, not only because of the heyday, but also just the memories I have kind of with you as well. You know, it's just wonderful to revisit these things and actually realize how lucky we've been as Niners fans over the years.
Yeah, and we spoke about that last week, and we know it's been a while, but like some teams never win one. Yeah. Some teams never even go or haven't gone for decades, and it's like, I mean, well, that's it now, but. Like, you know, like we're not going to win one. We haven't won one for a while, and hopefully, again, it comes around soon. But yeah, growing up at this time, you know, back in the day, and that's why we spoke about it before. That's why we're Niner fans, and that's why there's Bear fans in the UK, and so on and so forth. So, right. But yeah, this team, let's put a bow on it and just say they were legends.
And I think you've summed that up perfectly. And that's the end of the second quarter. So let's go.
It's halftime.
And it's now competition time for Mr. Near Baldock. It's blind rankings time. So I have 16 football movies. Now, you talk about football movies, and there are going to be certain people, if anybody's watching this, probably not, so it's just me and you, so it doesn't really matter. But certain people won't class some of these maybe as proper football movies. You've got the football purists out there, and then, you know, talk about certain other films, not going to drop any names yet, just in case, that they kind of go, oh, they're a bit tongue-in-cheek, or they're... Anyway, but I class these as football movies. So I've got A to P, okay? A to P.
A to P, okay. I'm going to have to make some notes on this like you did the other time as well. So
that's cool. Okay. Now, I've not been able to do this because I've not been, I don't know which 5 you're going to choose, so I can't really blind rank, but I'll do it at the same time as you when you actually pick them. So we'll go with 5 like you did with me with the receivers with the draft bus a couple of weeks back.
Okay.
And so you pick one, we'll have a little run through it, and then you give it a 1 to 5 ranking. Okay, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. Okay, all right. Give me a letter, Mr. Baldock.
Let's go with E.
E. Ooh, E. Now this is one of those that maybe people won't necessarily say, well, it's a true football movie, but it's The Blind Side. 2009, Sandra Bullock, Quentin Aaron, who played Michael O'Hare, obviously from the Baltimore Ravens. I was looking at these as well when I was sort of researching. I was looking at like the cast, so I was kind of thinking if I had to blind rank them, because you can sort of blind rank them on the plot, on the cast, on how real the football was, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, so it's up to you how you blind rank them, mate. But that is your first one that you've got, The Blind Side. Bit of a romantic football film, but obviously based on the true story.
It is. I've seen it maybe twice, but I know his story. Right? I think he. You know, I'm sure there's, I don't know if I'm putting together the facts or from the film, but I'm pretty sure he was homeless, right?
Yeah. Well,
they own.
Yeah, I don't think from what I remember, he was basically in a really bad home situation.
Right.
There was just mum. Mum was struggling with substance abuse. Obviously, he was struggling at school. Obviously, Sandra Bullock's character kind of took her under her wing, rather, managed to get him out to her particular alma mater college. Yeah, and then there was debate whether he should be there or whether they'd funded it. It's all that sort of.
Right. Oh yeah, and they're like, I mean, and that's such a middle of the road movie. I don't even know where to have a chance to put it. You know what though?
I tell you what we'll do. Because I've got so many. You get 2 passes. I don't like this might be in here. You can get 2 passes. All right. So if you kind of like
this blind right, let's go for it. Let's lock them in.
All right. Okay.
Let's do it. I would lock that in at. I'm going to look at it at 4.
You're going to go number 4. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
For no other reason that it's a pretty middle of the road. It's more of a, overcoming adversity movie than maybe football, but it is a true story, and he was a great player. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it at 4.
Okay. So you've had E. Pick another letter.
Let's go for. I don't know. Let's go for O.
O? Okay. You've selected the 1991 film starring Scott Bakula, Necessary Roughness.
Oh my goodness.
Can you remember this?
I think I can. Wasn't there some like NFL players appear? Did Jerry Rice appear in that one?
Mate, the list of NFL players in this is insane. Okay, so Scott Bakula played the quarterback. I can't remember wholly the plot, but in this, you had Rob Schneider and Jason Bateman. You had Boomer, Chris Berman in there. Yeah. But then the NFL list: Earl Campbell, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice, Tony Dorsett, Ed Too Tall Jones, Jim Kelly, Randy White, all playing as football players for the convict team. So it's a little bit like another movie, but yeah. So
I might pick that one. You never know, right? So, what was this one called? Is it called Unnecessary?
No, necessary roughness.
Dude, I don't know.
And I'll be honest, when this came out, I love this one more than any because of the fact that Roger Craig and Jerry Rice were in it. And I remember Roger and Jerry kind of in slow-mo walking off the convicts bus as they were about to play, and Scott Bakula's team looking and going, "Oh my days, we've got to play these guys."
Scott Bakula, oh my goodness, Quantum Leap fame.
Quantum Leap.
Like people are listening to this, like you said, to me and you. People listening to this are like going, "Who is this guy? Who is Scott Bakula?
What's Quantum Leap?
Who's Quantum Leap?" I don't want to fill in number 5 now, and I kind of already regret putting Blindsided. I'm gonna lock this in number 3. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. Number 3. You're going.
I'm hoping there's some nuggets coming in here, like some, and then maybe there's another one, but we'll see.
I'll tell you what, we could do this another week because we're gonna have enough left to be able to do this another week. Right, go on then. You've had E, you've had O.
Okay, I'm gonna go for G. G for goal.
G. Show me the money.
Oh,
show me the money. Jerry Maguire.
Brilliant. What a movie. The bit at the end where he's laying he's caught the touchdown, he's earned his money, he's laying down, he's just taking it all in. For some reason, I love this movie. I love this movie a lot. Everybody knows this movie.
I think you love this movie, even if you're not a football fan, partly because it stars Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger. Obviously, Cuba Gooding Jr. in it as well, so another big cast. And if I look down the list at like the people that have starred in these kind of football movies, there's been some big names in these movies. Yeah,
they try and obviously hit those big ones every now and again with the cast.
Yeah,
but I think I might paint myself into a real big corner right now. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to hope there's another one that I pick. There's a few more I like a lot better. Okay. Maybe we can mention those. I'm going to lock this in at 2. So I've got 2, 3, and 4. So. Okay. Yeah, at this rate, I could get the worst movie ranked number 1 with no choice. So we'll see how it goes.
You're left with 1 and 5. Okay, so you've had E, G, and O.
Let's go for J.
Oh, now this is a good film, but it's a purist football film. We Are Marshall.
We Are Marshall. Well, a great movie, like you said. It's the Matthew Mahogany.
Mahogany or McConaughey?
Yeah, I know that's what I call him. Don't worry.
All right, cool. All right.
McConaughey.
In Nottingham, they still call him McConaughey.
Yeah, so I like it. I like this movie. It's just like rebuilding like the town and whatever. It's very, and again, a true story, right? A lot of it. I mean, I don't know how much the story made it into the movie, but it was a true story. But let's lock this in. I like this over Jerry Maguire. I think.
Wow.
So I'm putting this in at 1. Anyway, so I'm kind of glad those two shook out that way. I think that's a great movie. So whatever comes out next is number 5.
It is number 5.
My least favorite.
Your least favorite, and there are some corkers on here still. So you've had E, H, E, J, E, G, J, and O.
Okay.
No, let's go for okay.
Let's go for M.
M.
Yeah.
Ooh. The 2015 Will Smith film Concussion.
Concussion. Only seen it once. It was all right. I'm glad that's in number 5. That's okay.
Now, I don't know whether or not I should have done it like that because, like you say, that's there's some big films that we've left out there. Hey. What's your favorite football film of all time?
Honestly, I kind of like, and And I always end up kind of watching it. There's two movies. One of them's probably a lot of people have heard of, but I do like Remember the Titans. I do like that movie. Yeah.
That was D on my list. That was D.
Yeah. That's a good movie. That's one of those movies I never seek out, but it's on a lot over here, as you can imagine. Yeah. And then when it's on, I always end up just locking in and just like watching it. And then another movie, I don't know if you've seen it. It's the Safety. It was the Disney movie.
Oh,
should check it out. It's the true story of May. Well, I've written his name down, so I just thought it might come up. Mekoreth Bay.
Okay.
He's from Clemson, and it's a Disney movie. But I remember watching this when Haddon, my son, was getting into football, and it was a Disney movie, right? So we got to watch a football movie together that was contemporary. It was about Clemson. It was a big thing, but it's about him overcoming, same stuff, adversity, college commitments, and football, and that kind of thing. So if no one's seen it, it's might worth check out. It's there you go.
The more you've spoken about that, I think I have seen that, but a while back. But yeah, I do believe I have. Yeah. For me, I kind of look, whenever I'm watching football movies, I kind of look to try and see where the realism is, where have they really taken the time to actually get the action right. And looking down the list of, you got, I'll give you some of the films that I had down here, some of the movies. I had Draft Day. Draft Day is a great film with Kevin Costner. Yeah, and I do watch it before every draft day. I do, and I think a lot of people do, but I do generally go back to it before every April draft day. I thought American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story, was good again, based on another true story. What else was in there that I got down? Invincible with Mark Wahlberg, talking about from the Eagles. I forget his name. Who's that about?
Parlay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's another great. And again, these are all kind of based on true stories, aren't they? But then for pure entertainment, any given Sunday, you get Al Pacino in a football film. Yeah. Al Pacino, Jamie Foxx, Dennis Quaid, Cameron Diaz, Jim Brown, and Lawrence Taylor in that as well.
That was a big movie at the time. I remember it being a big movie at the time, and I thought you were going to go for the 2005 remake of The Longest Yard.
I was getting there. I love the Mean Machine. I love the Burt Reynolds originally in 1974, Burt and Richard Keel. But then, The Longest Yard again. You look at the people in that, from Adam Sandler to Chris Rock to Michael Irvin, Bill Goldberg, Bob Sapp, Tracy Morgan, Terry Crews and Nelly, Bill Romanowski in there, Steve Austin, Brian Bosworth.
Oh, the Boz.
Peter King, Chris Berman in there. So, that was that remake. And that was just a good, fun film again. Courtney Cox in there right at the beginning as Adam Sandler's estranged wife before he goes mental. And then you kind of go on to, you can't beat The Waterboy either, just for a daft. Can you? Or is it just me? I've always got a soft spot for The Waterboy.
That's the thing. All of these movies, we don't get to see a lot of movies about the sport you love. And then whenever they drop one, even if it ain't the greatest, you still find something in it, right? That's the way I see it. But I'll stick. I'm kind of happy with my list. So I got what? We Are Marshall, Jerry Maguire, Necessary Roughness, Blindside, Concussion.
That's what you got. That's how you worked it.
That's how I worked it. So I'm kind of glad some of the other ones didn't end up at number 5. I'd have been heartbroken if Rudy ended up at number 5. That'd have been a.
I've looked at some other people's lists, and for a lot of people, Rudy's up there as number 1.
Yeah,
North.
Oh yeah. North Dallas
40. That was on my list. That was if you're interested. But North Dallas 40 is another great one with Nick Nolte from 1979. But you're right. Anytime a football movie comes out, you're like, well, we don't get many of these. Even if it's bad, it's still pretty, like pizza. Even if it's bad, it's still pretty good.
It's still pretty good. But over here, if I spoke to a lot of my friends over here in America, I would pretty much be certain they would say Rudy was their favorite, 100%. They grew up with it. Was that Sean Austin, I think, back in the day? So, cool.
I think it's a great shout. That's a great shout. But again, that's like all these lists. If anybody else is watching this, you'll probably disagree with this, and that's fine because it's all opinion-based. It's all a bit of fun. And I know you enjoyed that because I can tell by the look on your face.
It's wild. It's the flashbacks to the memories when you say these certain movies I've not seen in forever, and you go, and then it all penny drops.
And we'll be hooking up with some of them again, no doubt, in the next few weeks. Anyway, that's the end of halftime. Hot dog's done. Soda down. Let's move into the
third quarter.
So I wanted to spend a little bit of time on this show today just talking about Trent Williams, because I think the impact that re-signing Trent has, a lot of people will say he's obviously 38. How effective is he going to be? Can he avoid injury this year? But I think for me, having that security and having that leadership on there is a massive plus, particularly when we didn't really address the offensive line in the draft. So just have a little quick look at his contract. 2-year, $50 million contract. So $48.5 million is guaranteed. He received a $22.2 million signing bonus and his 2026 salary. Per game and workout bonus are both guaranteed. This is also an interesting one as well. I read somewhere, here we go, I've got it right here. If Williams is on the roster on September 1st of 2027 and does not hold out or miss any off-season time, there's a bonus there of $11.5 million for him. So to avoid this sort of holdout like we had this year and any uncertainty, there are also game bonuses worth up to $900,000 a year and a first game bonus of $500,000 for 2027. So Niners have got until the 10th day of the league to terminate or extend the contract next year. So it's very Niner friendly, but also it's got Trent some guaranteed money. And even if Trent does end up not lasting the season, there's that leadership in the building still.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a win-win for both, right? I think the main thing, it keeps an elite left tackle on our team and probably avoids another contract standoff, right? That's the thing. Right? That's purely what you've said, that $11 million, that's all that's for. It's like, let's not have this again. Says we appreciate you, we love you, we need you, but let's not do this again, please. So, and then it gives them a bit of roster flexibility as well, like we said. So lots of cap savings from this as well. But like you said, the biggest thing is he's playing for us again this year. There's no holdout. Everything looks great, but there's still a lot of money for someone who's going to hit 39 this year. So
yeah, that's right. Entering his 16th season, he was drafted in 2010. Drafted number 4 overall. I didn't realize he was actually drafted quite that high, but by the Commanders in 2010. And like you said, there are effectively 4 void years for salary cap purposes. So it's obviously a very 49er team friendly contract. But you do, you know, he had that one where he lasted the season last year until he had that one play where he tried to sprint after Brock had thrown an interception against the Bears, I think it was. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, he tried to chase him down.
Yeah, and then pulled his hammy, I think it was, and that was then done for a couple of weeks, and then you kind of go, oh, Brock, what are you doing, man? Come on. But you kind of, yes, he's going to break down at some point. Is it going to be this year? The likelihood is that he's not going to play a full season. But like you say, he has that stability of an elite left tackle still, with all the nuances for all these guys to learn from him. So I'm pleased he's still with. I'm pleased we're not good, because somebody else would have picked him up, you know. So
100%.
I'm just pleased we're not going to have to face him or worry too much about that starting left tackle position week 1 in Melbourne.
And he leads the walkout, right? Every game. He leads it out. You know, the guy's there with his like boom box, right? His speaker box. And then he leads that out. It's not just the ability, it's the mentality as well that he brings and the leadership. And then and I think it was Vidarian Lowe we added as well, right? I mean, maybe, you know, he's got veteran like backups now as well. So I think the left tackle is always, I mean, obviously for a right-handed passer, it's the second probably most important position on the field. I mean, people say that a lot. So having it shored up for at least one more year, maybe like me giving us a bit of flexibility moving into the future, this is nothing but a win. And yeah, and as you said, it released a lot of cap room, and I think it's what we'll talk about soon. So,
well, I mean, let's do that now. We don't need to dwell on the Trent thing. We're just glad the Silverback's back with us. For that stability and that leadership. And like you say, I mean, when he and Debo led the team out in that era with the boombox, that, you know, walking into opposing team stadiums, let alone in Levi's, it just set the tone, didn't it? And at least, you know, Trent can hopefully continue to set the tone for at least one more year and get us over that hump for the end of this season. So good stuff. Great to have Trent back. Let's head on in. We're getting late in the game now. Let's head on in to the
fourth quarter.
So we mentioned it at the start of the show then. The Niners have the most cap space in the league as things stand here on May the 10th, and that is 71 million, which is effectively 67.8 million cap space. So we're looking good. So that you've got to ask the question. It's been spoken about for a while. There are obviously still gaps to fill on this Niners roster, whether that's on the defensive line, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's at safety. In your opinion, what should we do?
Yeah, so I kind of looked at next year's as well. So I think we're already projected to be over next year, believe it or not. So, but we see what happens with all these teams now. The restructure, the move money, bonuses. So I don't think that's a problem. Yeah, so the real question is, do we roll over money? How much do we roll over, or do we go after someone? I think Nick Bosa is the big one we need to restructure. I mean, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's around 50 million or something. Okay. Crazy amount of money. But if you wanted to add depth, where do you think we should add it? I mean, obviously, I think safety. I think you had that in your notes, and then another player. I mean, I know the talking is still about obviously Joey Bosa, but that won't go away. But I think safety is the way we should really be spending a little bit of this money. I don't know about you.
No, I agree. I think Justin Simmons has just been picked up by somebody. I've got a feeling, actually, I might be wrong, but I've got a feeling the Seahawks may have picked up Simmons in this last week. And there's a veteran safety, obviously nearing the end of his career as well, but brings veteran leadership with him as well. So yeah, I think safety as well. But equally, I'm kind of thinking tight end. If Kittle doesn't come back from this Achilles and isn't the person he was, we've got Tonjes, who proved himself more than worthy. But with the depth at tight end behind Kittle and Tonjes just isn't really there. And if Kyle's wanting to run like 2 tight end sets or whatever else, you then need some more depth at tight end as well.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think with our offensive scheme, if Kittle, he tends to miss a few games every year. I did look at some of the players available at tight end. There's some great players there, but like I said, there's a reason they're available, right? They're all aging a bit. David Njoku's available, but I mean, that's a bit expensive for a tight end too, I guess. I mean, he's a legitimate one for a lot of teams. Jonnu Smith, Darren Waller's still there. Zach Ertz is available. I mean, he's still kicking around, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who you go for, whether you go for that blocking tight end, just the extra lineman in for those, twin tight end sets, or you go for a receiver type to just directly replace Kittle if, hopefully he doesn't, but if and when he gets injured. But there's some good players there, but like you said, they're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But I mean, on that end as well, there's some brilliant receivers out there still. Tyreek's still unsigned. Debo's still unsigned. And I read somewhere this week that said Debo was looking the shape of his life. He kind of really cut himself up and, and bulked up to that, to the Debo that we saw almost coming out of South Carolina, as a rookie. But again, for me, in the not too distant past, I might have gone, well, yeah, let's try and pick Tyreek up. But I think receiver room now we're set. Let's put that to bed. That's what we've got. We've got bigger holes and bigger needs elsewhere. And I think that safety, tight end, possibly. Does the Joey Bosa thing come to fruition? Is this another fairy tale season like the '94 season where we bring in, whoever just for that one run? I don't know, but yeah, I agree with you. We need to make sure we're planning for the future as well. We're not just going all in this year. Restructuring Bosa, I think, is really important. Again, can Bosa stay healthy? Yeah. This is his 3rd ACL he's coming back from now, I think. So and he's not getting any younger.
That's true, but I think our D line looks pretty good. I feel like that same way the receivers. I think you can overpopulate it. I just think some kind of deep coverage, safety, kind of like extra help back there if we needed. I looked at the two big number names that left are Donovan Wilson and Xavier Woods. I think Wilson, we'd all agree, is more of a linebacker type coming down into the box. So I think Woods might be a good pickup just to sit behind our 2 safeties now. But interesting. I think the most important thing is this cap, availability just gives us the flexibility and the structure to do a lot of things with our current roster and fill any holes, because we've still got a training camp to go through. We don't know what's going to happen. And I can't remember, this is testing my knowledge already, is it June 1st or July 1st? There's a lot of releases. So I'll have to look at that. We picked up some good players in the past after that date.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
yeah. We shall see. But I think, like you said, I think the most important thing is we've got a lot of money.
Nice problems to have.
Yeah.
Nice problems to have when we're sitting here with the biggest cap space in the league at the moment. So yeah, I'm like you, and I'm always going to be optimistic about the Niners. And I'm always going to trust Kyle, John, Jed, and the ownership, and you know the fact. If you think we're desperate to win a Super Bowl, just imagine how desperate Kyle and John are. You know, it's hardly like they're going, "Oh, we're sitting on the money. Money's not an issue to them. They're not bothered about money anymore. It's all about those rings." So if you think we're desperate as a fan base, come on, they're not going to be trying to do things on purpose to sabotage us getting another Lombardi, are they?
Absolutely not. And I think and the same for the players as well. They want to win it. And there's a lot of windows closing. So I think they want to win it now.
It is becoming, I mean, people are saying that window, some critics are saying the window's shut now, but with the likes of Kittle and Fred and Nick coming back from injury and aging as well, and Trent turning 38. And yeah, we've picked up Mike Evans and Christian Kirk, but they're at the back end of their careers. You know, is it this, I mean, Dre Greenlaw coming back, great player again, but Achilles injury. A year removed from that Achilles injury, he's going to be a little better again than he was for Denver, but he's towards the end of his career. So it does seem like you say that window for a lot of players is narrowing. And as much as this rookie draft class is going to hopefully develop for the long term, the majority of this roster at the moment is not going to be here in 2-3 years' time.
Yeah, I think that's the nail on the head, is the 2 or 3 years, because they're all closing at the same time. Obviously, we did well. We brought some players in. We spoke about some of the trades we made like a few years ago in a previous pod, and like there's a lot of players in there where it's all happening at the same time. But that's the good thing about it, is they're all together in it as well. Like that's why they've got each other's back. That's the attitude they bring. So yeah, but let's see what they do with the money.
Absolutely. Oh, good stuff. That's 56 minutes on the clock already, Neil, which again has just flown by. Well, that's for me and you. I bet Maureen and Susan are asleep.
My mom asked me today, says, what are you doing? What are you talking about today?
Are you really interested, Susan? Or is it just like seeing your boys?
I just said, just some 49ers stuff, Mom. You'll love it.
Right, so that's the end of the game, but it's a tie game once again. It's a tie game every week, so we better go to
overtime.
Overtime generally is where we speak a little bit about something else about outside the 49ers. And there's just one thing I wanted to pick up on today, unless you've got anything else as well, Neil. Jeremiah Love, the Arizona Cardinals' 3rd overall pick, signed his rookie contract, $53 million, averaging $13.2 million a year. That's the 7th highest amongst current NFL running backs. It's the most guaranteed money for a running back in NFL history. The last one was Saquon for the Giants in 2018. The Arizona Cardinals have got a lot of holes to fill. Have they plowed too much into this running back position, particularly when you think that running back room actually isn't too bad down there in Arizona?
Right. And I think this is the thing, right? Obviously, this was like the player, we spoke about it, is what a player. But when you're running a running back and you've got holes elsewhere, are you just going to give him too many carries? We've seen impact on our team on that. But that's a lot of money. And if he has anything approaching Barkley's career, I mean, I think he said he was the second. He broke his record. I don't think they're going to go too wrong, honestly. I mean, you pay the talent. He looks like he's got it all. So we'll see. And hopefully he doesn't perform too well against us twice a year. That'll be fine. Take it off. And then, but that's a lot of cash. Did you say, I think you made your notes here, the 7th highest paid running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even taken a regular season snap. Not even seen him against the pros. So they obviously see a lot in him. Obviously, all the draft talk was how good he was. And so I'm probably thinking this is probably in alignment with what they would expect to pay him anyway, and what he would expect to get paid. So, Arizona going all in on Jeremiah Love.
And you got to kind of think, well, Arizona, unfortunately, basement dwellers in this NFC West, and there's no tougher division in football than the NFC West at the moment. So they've got to try and do something to make an impact on there. And they're obviously building that roster for the next 5-10 years around Jeremiah Love, and seeing where the pieces fall. But yeah, really interesting one. So good luck to the Cards, but like you say, not too much good luck because we see them twice a year. So
yeah, I mean, the thing is with Love though, dude, and he's a home run hitter from anywhere on the field at any moment, or he was. If that translates into the pros, this will look like a bargain in 3 or 4 years' time. So that's the reality of it. Like everything, hindsight is great, but yeah, congrats on getting the money, and yeah, just do it against everybody else but us. There we go.
Absolutely. Well, that's another show then, just about done and dusted. Anything else you wanted to bring up, Neil, while we're here, or?
No, I'm good, man. Like I said, I'm really enjoying this. I think that's number four done. It's becoming a thing, right? Like I'm digging into like notes and research and YouTube videos back in the 80s and the 90s. We spoke about the 80th year coming up, so we'll do some more on that. But yeah, just enjoying it, and yeah, just carry on.
Well, I'll try and sort my camera issues out because I look like I'm sat on a sunbed. We'll get that sorted for next week. But other than that, thank you if you joined us. We're going to do this all again next Sunday as we get closer and closer to the real meat of the NFL season. Training camp not too far away. Then we get into preseason. Before you know it, it'll be September, and we'll be previewing and reviewing games left, right, and center. So from myself, from Neil, we hope you all have a very good week. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next Sunday. Take it easy, everybody.